Thank you so much for joining us again on ABUJA File, coming to you live from the ABUJA studios of KAFTAN Television. Now, restoring ABUJA master plan through climate actions is a critical step towards creating a sustainable and resilient city in the face of climate change. ABUJA, the capital city of Nigeria, like many other cities around the world, faces various climate-related challenges, including rising temperatures, increased flooding, and potential for extreme weather events. Now, joining me in the studio today is Yahaya Maryam, and she's a youth advocate for Climate Action Project. Together, we shall be taking a look at some of these issues and how these issues can actually and really be addressed. Thank you so much for joining me in the program, Maryam.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, so you are a youth advocate for climate change.
Yes.
So before we go into, or before we focus on your foundation and what you do and focusing on the FCT,
okay.
The issue of climate change has been talked about so much, but people don't even actually understand what the issues are and what it means when we talk about climate change. So could you shed a little light on that?
Okay, so talking about climate change is a long-time shift in temperature and weather patterns. Weather patterns could be dry season or rainy season. We've noticed that there's an increased rate in dry season. We don't have the normal range for dry season as we used to have due to intense heating of the atmosphere. So climate change is the cause of that. So because of that, our temperature has increased. You notice that the intense heating of the atmosphere results to excess rate of evaporation, melting of ice glaciers, which in turn results to flooding. So basically, when we talk about climate change, this is what we refer to.
Okay, so in a layman's understanding, it's more like, as it explains itself, the climate has changed. Yes. And it's like I know it's constantly changing and it will continue to change.
Yes.
So you are with the Creative Vision Development Foundation. Can you give us an insight of what that foundation does?
Okay, Creative Visions Development Foundation is a non-governmental organization which was created in the year 2007 and formally registered in the year 2009. Okay. Our thematic approach are basically the education sector, good governance, and also the developmental sector, and also health sector as well. So we focus on education in the sense that we carry the students along. Then the health sector, we recently conducted a diabetes project regarding the health sector. So this is basically what we do at Creative Visions Development Foundation. Okay, so where does the advocacy for climate change come in? Okay, the advocacy for climate change is a Christian aid project which is being implemented by Creative Visions Development Foundation. Okay. Yeah. So you've made mention about something creative aid. Christian aid project. Okay. Yes. What's Christian aid project? Is it an organization? Is it the name of the project? Give us more light on what. Okay. Because when you say Christian aid, some people think of, when I hear the word Christian, a lot of things goes through my mind. Is this somebody's name? Is it the religion? So when you say Christian Aid Project, okay, what's that? So Christian Aid is an international organization. Okay. Which is based in the UK, but we also have them here in Nigeria. So it's an international organization that carries people along. So because of that reason, they then handed over the YACA project, which is the Youth Advocacy for Climate Change, to be implemented by Creative Visions Development Foundation. And the project is basically to carry the youth along, to give the youth voice on climate changes. So is it a Christian body, or that's just the name? That's the name, Christian Aid. Okay, so you mentioned that it's based in the UK, yes, but then it has an aspect here in Nigeria. So how does the body, like the Christian Aid in the UK, actually affect the things that are happening here in Nigeria? How much do they come in? They are fully part of it. They monitor and oversee everything from there. So they monitor and oversee whatsoever is going down here. They have people representing them here. So they have like a physical office that would be easy for people to relate with them here, but they monitor and oversee everything from there.
Okay, now back to Creative Visions Development Foundation and your advocacy for climate change. So what are the projects that you've carried out so far in your aim towards achieving, I don't know, or towards mitigating the effects, or to maybe reduce the effect of climate change? What are the projects that you've done so far, and how far has that gone?
Okay, so the project is intended to last for a period of 6 months, which started in the month of June. So we are just a few months gone. The project started in June, and so far we've been undergoing series of trainings to learn how to tackle the issues of climate change.
Okay.
So what we intend achieving is reaching out and advocating to farmers to practice sustainable agriculture, because we notice that lack of sustainable agriculture is also one of the major causes of climate change. So if people change from the basic form of agriculture they know down to sustainable agriculture, like mixed cropping, and instead of using artificial fertilizers on their farmland, they could then use animal dung, so they could do a form of mixed cropping whereby they have both their plants and animals on the same piece of land. So
is that really achievable? Because we know how some animals can react to your crops. Maybe you can just leave, let me say for instance, goats on your farm, and then you come back tomorrow to nothing.
Okay, it could be like if you can do a form of ranching.
Okay.
So on a different side you can have your animals, so that there will be easy mobility of you moving the animal dung to your farm land.
Okay, so what I understand from what you said is that basically the project that you've been doing so far is more like an outreach.
Yes,
and educating people.
Yes.
So in your outreach and your education, it's not that, because most times when I tell people, when people talk about advocacy and outreach and educating people, it's not about talking about it. The people that you actually try to reach out to, do they understand the importance of the things that you tell them? Because a lot of people don't understand when we talk about climate change. So when you tell them anything, they don't even understand where you're coming from. They don't understand what you're talking about, and then it might be hard to implement what you don't understand. So you've been doing your the project has been outreach, but has it really gotten the kind of ears that you want it to? Do people actually understand what you talk about when you tell them, oh, you have to do this differently, and do they understand why they have to do it differently?
Okay, so like I said, the project is just a few months gone. We still have more time to achieve that, but we do believe that for people to really understand and get what we are trying to say, we'd also have to come down to the level to which they would understand.
Okay.
Like to the farmers in the communities, we would use a layman's language that will make it easy for them to understand, and then we'll also tell them the impact of what they are doing, and then not only telling them the impact, we'll also provide solutions to counter the impact. So you not just telling them, okay, stop cutting down trees. If you tell them to stop cutting down trees, you also provide solutions and also tell them why they need to stop cutting down trees. So that is how we intend to achieve that. We still have a few months to go. So
okay, so we'll get to talk about more of your project, but let's talk about ABUJA in particular, and trying to achieve the ABUJA master plan. You know that in ABUJA we have a master plan, and one of the most talked about things in the master plan is the green area, because you just made mention of cutting down trees and planting trees. One of the things that is most talked about is preserving the green areas in ABUJA, but it's very evident that people don't understand that, because we're talking about preserving it, you see people building constantly, and we've seen our new FCT minister has come in and he has insisted on taking back those green areas here in FCT. So aside those green areas, now, so what are the strategies that you think that can be used to implement this climate change action here in the FCT? Okay,
so narrowing it down to the FCT, I would say that what the FCT minister had said is all the measures he mentioned. He talked about green areas, he talked about stopping open grazing and all that, because open grazing is one of the causes of climate change too. So all that he mentioned are measures to combating climate change. So we're starting the ABUJA master plan, which he made mention of recovering green areas, green spaces. We all know that, okay, green spaces or trees serves as carbon sink. They absorb carbon dioxide, and then in turn they give us oxygen. So what we're trying to prevent here is that excess of carbon dioxide is what is harmful to the atmosphere, is what is harmful to our earth. So restoring the ABUJA master plan would be a really great help. If it's being restored, it will help reduce the rate of carbon in the atmosphere, which is basically the contributor of global warming.
So, but I'm very sure, although I know that you know this particular conversation more than me, but I know that just restoring the green areas and stopping open grazing is not enough. So what are the other things that needs to be done to be able to restore ABUJA master plan through climate actions?
Okay, I think urban planning as well.
Okay.
Because what we've noticed is that most of our lands are being given out for estate development. So most of those lands, once the lands are being granted, the first thing that happens is that trees will be cut down and then buildings will take over those spaces. So one of the reasons, what we can check to stop that is also deforestation. Deforestation should be stopped. Like that's deforestation, that's cutting down of trees. That is also a measure. Then also sustainable agriculture, as I earlier mentioned. Then also renewable energy. People should shift from the basic form of we should shift to a side of renewable energy, like energy that can be replenished. We should move to that aspect. And then again, waste management, because we notice that there's high rate of dumping of refuse in drainage channels, which is the major cause of flooding.
All right. So, I'm going to have to talk about the deforestation that you talked about, because I have something to say in that regard. But before then, we'll go on a quick break and we'll be right back.
Thinking of where to get the latest information and in-depth analysis on news, events, and trending stories around the Federal Capital Territory? Or do you need a medium to showcase those amazing brands, businesses, and events of yours? Seek no more.
So ABUJA coming to a whole lot of tourists and stuff.
And we got you covered. Tune in to channel 124 on Startimes at 10 p.m. West African time on Tuesdays and Thursdays to be informed on policies, news, reports, events, and their effects on the Federal Capital Territory.
My name is Yahaya, BCFR, the Black Comedian of the Federal Republic. I tell you, when it comes to the best of entertainment, the best of news, the best of information, something that is educative, you're right here at the best place to see that. It's KAFTAN TV. You know what? Increase the volume. Keep watching. Don't touch the dial, okay?
It's your girl Nkechi Blessing Sunday. I want you all to keep watching KAFTAN TV.
Please keep watching KAFTAN TV. It is the best TV station in the country. They're doing an amazing job. Please do not touch the dial. Keep watching.
Please, girls, let's be fast with our chores. It's almost time for Engendered. Girls, it's time for your favorite program, Engendered.
Yeah, Mommy, we're coming right away. Sophia, turn off the gas. What are your fears as a woman? And what are your doubts as a lady? You think you're alone with those thoughts? Then welcome to Engendered, where we'll bring you discuss, interviews, previews, experiences, opinions, and issues relating to the female gender. This is Engendered.
While wrapping up the day, unwind with the reminiscence of the day's news from home and abroad with KAFTAN TV 7 p.m. News.
Good to have you join us on KAFTAN News at 7.
Nigerians are living in Africa. 5% are young people. We propose the Harmony Symphony.
It's good to have you join us on KAFTAN TV News at 7.
We found that the 10 naira tax is not actually sufficient.
National, foreign news headlines. Get balanced, accurate facts on the latest news in business, politics, entertainment, sports, and more. Live from our studios.
Many thanks for watching. Join us again at 9
KAFTAN
p.m.
TV News.
Thinking of where to get the latest information and in-depth analysis on news, events, and trending stories around the Federal Capital Territory? Or do you need a medium to showcase those amazing brands, businesses, and events of yours? Seek no more.
So ABUJA coming to a whole lot of posts and stuff.
And we got you covered. Tune in to channel 125.
Alright, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is ABUJA File coming to you live from the ABUJA studios of KAFTAN Television. With me today in the studio is Yahaya, Maryam, and together we're discussing restoring ABUJA's master plan through climate actions. And before we went on a break, she made mention of the ways that we can do that, and she made mention of deforestation. So when you talk about deforestation, and now I want to ask, how can we work that side by side with development? Because you know that when there's constant development, spaces need to be made. So I want to believe that deforestation is something that's inevitable. But maybe from your own aspect, you might see it differently. So how can we work that deforestation and development? How can we pair that side by side?
Okay, so definitely as population is increasing, there will be need for more spaces. So as population is increasing, trees will be being cut down to create spaces for either residential purpose or business purposes. So in regards to that, how we can work it hand in hand to development is, I think, like for the purpose of building or estates, building of estates, if trees are to be cut down to create spaces to build houses, then I think estates managers should be compelled to plant at least a number of trees within their estates in return, yes. Okay. And also for existing estates, if they don't have, they should also plant. So I think that will help.
So is that going to be enough? Because let's say, for instance, you take down 1,000 trees or 10,000 trees to build an estate, and then in return, you're asking them to build, how much more, how much would they build? And whatever amount, let's say, for instance, at the end of the day, after the development, we have 10 trees in the area. Is that enough?
It's really not enough. So that is why we need green spaces. Like those, what I mean by those green spaces, that forest areas where it's just basically trees that will be there. So we shouldn't like cut down all our trees. The forest shouldn't go into extinction. So we should also have forests. And then within farmlands too, we can also tell farmers to plant trees on their farmlands, because not only does it help the entire world or the entire environment, it also helps them in when it comes to crop yield. They achieve bumper harvest because those trees will serve as windbreaker, because when the wind comes, their crops will be protected. It also serves as it locks nutrients, it locks moisture into their soil because it helps. So farmlands, farmers should also plant trees, estates managers should plant trees, and then we should also do well to conserve our forests.
Okay, you've made you've spoken about farmers, you've talked about estates and developers. What about individuals? Because I know that most people don't even see the reason why they should have a plant in their home, and you're talking about something as big as a tree. So when you talk about farmers, you've given reasons why farmers should. You've talked about estate developers, individuals. Okay, individuals too should also plant that, because and when it comes to the choice of the trees they should plant, they could plant economic trees that in turn would generate income for them. So would advise they can plant maybe mango tree, orange tree, something that at the end of the day you can sell from what you produce. Yes. And all right, before we are gradually running out of time, but before that, I want us to talk about the mitigation of this climate change. How can it actually be mitigated? Because aside trying to restore Abuja master plan, leaving Abuja now, talking about the world in general, how can we mitigate this climate change? What are the things that we need to put all our hands on deck to work against, to make sure that we reserve the green energy that we have in the world, also the green air and everything, that we make sure that in the next 20 to 50 years, the world is not on fire?
Okay. So speaking about mitigation and adaptation goes hand in hand when you talk about climate change.
Okay.
So when we talk about mitigation, we are talking about ways to which we reduce the effects of climate change. And when we talk about adaptation, we refer to the coping mechanism. So when it happens, how will people cope? So speaking of the mitigation, like I said earlier, we need to key into renewable energy. We should harness our solar energy and all that. It will help. We can also key into the aspect of using electrical cars, because all those smoke, all those gas flares from industry, those are the carbon dioxide that results to global warming. So when we key into renewable energy, it's a way of reducing that. Planting of more trees is also that. Then also something I want to talk about is building on waterways.
That one is very known in Abuja.
Yes,
a lot of
building
people
on
do
waterways.
that.
You see people building haphazardly, no form of urban planning and all that. So building on waterways, I think the government should implement a policy, or if the policy is already in place, it should be fully implemented and also being monitored, so that people don't build on waterways, because that is also a major cause of climate change with regards to flooding.
Okay. So you just made mention of building on waterways, and we've seen situations, like I'm going to make reference to what recently happened in Lokogoma, where flooding, serious issues of flooding, and when the FCT administration wanted to take those houses down, the people in the area stood up to revolt against the FCT, and even it has happened somewhere else in Lugbe and all of that. So what I'm understanding from our conversation is that these people don't actually understand what because it's more like, when this situation is more like the FCT and the people are not speaking the same language. They don't understand each other. Aside the fact that they feel like the FCT wants to take away their homes, they don't understand that what they are doing is wrong enough to affect the weather, to affect the climate situation of not just FCT, of the world, that it has like a 0.1 impact on the climate change that we're talking about. You also made mention of refuse dumping and all of that. But the fact remains that there's a place where the government has to come in, because this issue of refuse dumping, people actually cannot only work with what they have. So I see people that come out and they just throw their refuge like outside in front of their door when it's raining, hoping that the water will carry it to God knows where. So things like this, I want you to advocate enough so that people can understand what we've been talking about so far. Let's say you have to put all of the things that we've talked about so far in one complete statement. What would you say?
Okay. So regarding that, majorly people of the believe that dumping of when they dump their refuse in water channels, when the rain comes, it washes it away. So they feel they are not doing anything bad. And what we intend doing here is we want to achieve a behavioral change. Okay. And what I mean by achieving a behavioral change is I want to incorporate in them that what they are doing is actually wrong by telling them the bad side of it, telling them its effect and what it does in turn to our environment. So we would like people out there to properly dump their refuges, because I believe that in most areas that people do that, there are specific areas where you would see loads of trash being gathered there. So I think it would be right if they dump it on that place rather than just throwing it into water channels. And for people that are having issues with government, thinking that the government wants to bring their properties down and all that, we also like to explain to them that if we do not take immediate action now, climate change is a global issue. If we do not take immediate action now, we wouldn't have a world for people coming, for the next generation coming to live in, and would also suffer from it.
All right. Now, quickly before we go, what should we be looking out for in your projects that you're carrying out? Like, honest, I'm talking about the Creative Visions Development Foundation, the project that it's ongoing. What should we look out for? What should we be expecting in the next 6 months?
Okay, in the next 6 months, we hope to achieve afforestation. That is, we hope to plant quite a number of trees, not just us, but engaging with stakeholders to implement policy that will compel other people. When I say other people, I mean like estate developers and also farmers as well, to plant trees. So you should be on the lookout for that. We hope to achieve that. And not also that, we hope to achieve to collaborate with stakeholders like AEPB, ABUJA Environmental Protection Board, against the indiscriminate dumping of refuse. So by the end of this project, we hope to have achieved that.
All right, thank you so much. It's been amazing talking to you, and I hope that people who have been watching so far have been able to pick something from what you've said. And if you didn't, just to recap to what she said, try today, tomorrow, next month. There's no time that is too late to start. If you plant a tree today, I'm very sure that in the next year you'll be licking oranges from your tree. So try to plant a tree. Stop open disposal of dumps. It's not even healthy. It's an eyesore. Let's not talk about the health effect and what it could cause for the climate. So don't do that. Try to plant a tree in your environment today. It's very good and it's very healthy, maybe for you and for people in your environment. And that was our conversation with Yahaya. Maryam, thank you so much for coming on the program. And I really hope that a lot of people learned something from what you said today. I did, and I wish I had space. I would have planted maybe like an orange tree.
That'd be nice.
But I don't have a space to do that. But very soon, hopefully, very soon, I'm going to get a space. And maybe I'll plant like 2 to 5 trees, maybe oranges and mangoes. All right, thank you so much for watching Abuja File today. Till I come your way next time, I am Sandra Ago. Bye for now.